Hello everyone, welcome to China Talk. Development is always a very important keyword for China. And recently, forum focused on development, China Development Forum, was held in Beijing. The forum has attracted representatives from more than 80 multinational corporations, scholars, as well as delegates from international organizations to attend. So how do they view China's economy and Chinese market in 2025? And how should these multinational corporations deal with the rising trend of trade protectionism and anti-globalization? In order to find out the answers, we have an exclusive interview with Nobel laureate, Professor Christopher Pizarris, to share his insights with us. Professor Pizarris, it is a great pleasure to have this conversation with you. We know that recently China has implemented more proactive fiscal policies to boost economic growth and give more confidence to consumers and investors. So how would you expect China's economic development in 2025?
Well, the Chinese economy in 2025, it should improve compared with last year. I became a lot more optimistic now that I've heard what the Chinese government is doing from Premier Li Chang and the ministers. The fiscal policy action they are taking is very good to help out local authorities with their debts, to help the property market recover, and to help also individual households to increase their consumption, because the next phase of Chinese economic growth will have to be based on domestic consumption, not on exports. It's just not a choice nowadays, not only because of the geopolitical situation, but also because it's reached maturity in terms of trading products. Now, that's policy which is going to give a positive boost to the economy, and which I heard about at the China Development Forum this year, and it was explained very clearly and with a lot of transparency about what's going on, which I think was very good. But what's as encouraging was what was said in the speeches about the very recent Chinese data that we from outside wouldn't have been able to see, whereas they know what it is, which is mainly that all the aggregates about consumption are up compared with last year, that during the Spring Festival there was a lot of travel within the country, there was a lot of spending, that businesses are switching to green technologies and they're spending a lot on that, and that's good development both for increasing spending, but also for environmental reasons. The new technology clusters have increased to such an extent that is number one in the world, and the government plans to encourage R&D and new technology adoption even more. With the new technologies being discovered now, related to AI mainly and robotization of manufacturing, it's absolutely essential that China moves in that direction, but it is moving in a very big way in that direction. So overall, I am optimistic. The thing that I think they need to pay more attention here, which they might as well be doing, but nothing was said about it, was how do you get the workers to transition to this new green high-tech world, because now a lot of them are still working in agriculture, unproductive agriculture. They're still working with manufacturing old technologies, and they have to adjust to the new technologies, move out into the service sector. I think one of the ministers emphasized this morning that moving to the service sectors will increase productivity as well, which is absolutely right. But how do you make this move? It's not that easy to get a worker from the land into high-tech services like finance or business services, or from the existing old-fashioned manufacturing, either into high-tech manufacturing or into services. It needs some initiative, some effort. I would have loved to hear more about that.
You are expert in labor economics. So with the rapid development of artificial intelligence, how would you expect its influence on the job market in the future?
AI is going to have a big influence on the job market, but not of the kind that you hear all the time, that is going to take jobs away. AI is changing jobs, taking away some tasks that workers were doing, maybe some jobs as well, but it's creating other jobs. So just like there is a challenge on how to move workers from agriculture and low-skill manufacturing to higher-skill activities, there is another challenge, which is how do you move workers from other types of technology and also low-skill manufacturing and so on into jobs that now will be using AI. The way I see AI developing almost anywhere that's been applied so far was in augmenting human labor in new ways. So suddenly you have this new technology that is with you, and you need to learn how to use it, just the techniques of it, but you also need to learn where to apply it so that it's more effective and you become more productive. And that's the big challenge that labor markets are facing, and that's how they are changing. You should never worry that we might get mass unemployment because AI and robots will be doing our job. That will never happen, because new jobs will be created all the time.
So it means that companies should offer some trainings to the workers so that they can adapt to the new jobs.
They absolutely need training. In my view, the best way of providing training is through big companies. We visited one big company here yesterday, and you could see that they had excellent opportunities to train workers into the new technologies that they were adopting and they were doing. More and more companies should be doing that. We know from work done in the United States that something like 2 hours a week of training would be needed, and that the training should be owned by the worker, by which we mean the worker should feel that they are doing that training because it will improve their own situation, not because the boss said do that training. If they take it as an order from above within the company, it will not succeed. It has to be done in a collaborative way. And that's something that I've been emphasizing more and more recently in my work. That's what I've been working on, in fact, mainly, how to improve the collaboration between senior management and workers so as to improve the well-being of workers at the same time as improving their skill for the new technology. Well-being is very important for the worker, not only because that should be an objective for any economist or any business person to improve the well-being of those working with them, but also because well-being brings happiness at work and brings willingness to work more and willingness to learn more and therefore adapt to the new technologies.
And in today's world, with the rising trend of anti-globalization and trade protectionism, multinational companies face many challenges. So do you have some suggestions for them? How should these companies tackle with these challenges and not only survive, but also thrive?
My suggestion is to those who are causing the deglobalization and the geopolitics just to give up on it and become more collaborative. And then everyone will be happier if they become more collaborative. I mean, unfortunately, we see politicians using the economy for their political aims, which is completely wrong. You know, I mean, they do things for the economy that are good for companies and workers and productivity and well-being and standard of living and all that. Pursue your politics somewhere else. But unfortunately, they don't do it. Now, you say my advice for multinationals, they know better than me. If there is uncertainty about geopolitics and where free trade is going and how difficult or or how complicated it would be if they establish somewhere else. They're obviously cautious. I cannot tell them as the economists, no, go and invest. It's good for it would be good for the economy. They say, well, I have a company to look after, you know. So the main thing is to get the policy right. And then multinationals, which they have to adapt in the environment that they're operating with. It's good to see so many heads of multinationals. I was looking at a bit earlier with all the names that you can think of are there of multinationals. It means there's a lot of interest in China. Chinese delegates here are saying the right things about the treatment of multinationals in China, but of course, you know, as they say, one swallow doesn't bring spring. You need to see a lot together, you know, and you need to see better collaboration internationally for them to feel completely comfortable. But it's good to hear all these positive things here, and I hope they materialize.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for accepting our interview and bringing us very insightful ideas.